Georgia's offense against Alabama, SEC champions, as the Dogs become back-to-back champs in the SEC. Brent, monkey off the back. You beat the elephant in the room. Whatever mental block Georgia's offense was able to do most of what it wanted against Alabama. And yes, points on the board, but dictating the pace of play, that was the biggest difference, I thought, in the game in Athens compared to this one.
Agree. In control. And the fact that, especially when you think about last week against Georgia Tech and how scared is maybe the wrong word, but just, hey, our defense is going to shut them down. We don't need to do anything that's going to, and Gunner was kind of spooked a little bit early, putting the ball in harm's way. You didn't see that this week. You saw a confident QB and one who was making good decisions for the most part consistently throughout the game.
Starting here.
Speaking of good decisions, when they blitz and you can just spin it out to number one, it's always a great decision. This sucker is a revelation. I mean, he's basically equaled his production at USC over 2 years. And just look at the ease with which he catches this pass. Like, he's got to go down to where that ball's almost on the ground, like he's, being a catcher. And no big deal. That's what's been most impressive about him, is just nothing in any way he never seems out of control, I guess is maybe he always seems like he's in complete control. Kind of like the X-Men movies where the guy was like or Flash, where he's really fast and everybody else just, he's just kind of like, or, Flash in the Superman movie, or what's it called? Oh, crap. Justice League. League.
Okay.
I'm
not a big movie watcher, and I'm not like a superhero movie watcher, so I can't help you here. I'm
okay.
So sorry.
Well, I'll describe it. He's like moving around really fast, but it's also everybody else is kind of slow running. He's like, think, but he's moving so fast. It seems like Branch is kind of like that. But anyway, spin it out. You get just make contact, and then he goes and makes plays.
And I've seen some Georgia fan chatter, maybe some on the dog vent too, of, hey, this is the NIL era. Like, you can pay up and get your guys to stay and not go to the NFL. I think that's unlikely for this guy. I think he's going to be such a high pick that he will be probably a second-round pick, something like that.
Yeah, I think he's a top 50 pick.
And those guys go pro because you just never know from that point. But, if Georgia really wants to bank up and get him, I'm sure they could have the discussion. It's just unlikely.
And you know who helps him from a pro perspective? Ladd McConkey.
Yeah.
Like, Ladd being picked where he was and being what he's been, like, very much helps him from a pro perspective. Now, it seems like it's consistent now that they want to run Gunner a little bit and maybe let him get hit, and they feel like that kind of gets him into the game a little bit. But here, I'd be ticked if I was in the QB room coaching this up. You got to make better fakes. You got to look out to the side, and you'll see it on the next play. But the linebackers, and because the sad part about this is blocked really well. And look at Elias Williams, just dump trucks the backer as he pulls around, puts him on the ground basically. But because you make no effort to fake the ball, Hubbard is just sitting there. Linebackers don't move. Like, look at the linebacker, so Zero and the other linebacker. Look how little movement. Like, they're just right there waiting for you. Versus the very next play, because look, that is blocked really well. And you've got that one safety there. This should be a much bigger game, because then the next play, you go a different look and you're throwing at the Branch. Look at the linebackers kind of hang because you're in a throwing motion at least. If you do that the first time, that first play works a lot better. And this is just tough right here for Dylan Bell. I know you got the holding call that kind of ends your drive. But when the receiver goes outside of you and these guys aren't used to sort of letting go, they're just blocking their tail off. It's just hard.
Wouldn't have gotten the first down anyway. But yeah, no. The penalty stalled the drive.
But you see the same action though. You saw the same action in terms of the QB counter to the bottom of the screen there. So this is after the punt block, the 3 tight end look.
Just good vision by Nate.
Beautiful football. Everybody loves the 13 personnel. And we saw this the very first play in overtime against Tennessee when Nate almost scored. It's the same play, just different way. Now, could Riddell maybe come off of that a little bit and go find work on that safety, and it makes it even a bigger play? Possibly. But still, you make sure. And on plays like this, when you got all those guys there, it's like, hey, we're winning the point of attack no matter what. Lawson luckily just puts 8 into the ground, basically. Like, so I get we're not worried about getting every guy here. We're just worried about dominating at the point of attack. And the combination of the 3 tight ends and Ernest Green do just that.
How about the assignment from 63 here? Look at Glover. Get out here in the open field. Got that coming at you, a little corner.
Movement skills. Look at the movement skills, though. Dude's an athlete.
Yeah.
Like, he is an athlete. And he's only going to get better. This is significant here. So 1st and goal at the 7. What do you see? All right, so let's set it up. Bunch formation to the left. Pause. You got Dylan Bell coming in motion. You've got London Humphreys on the line of scrimmage. And you sort of have your QB action, ball one way, give it the other. Duo wrap is what sort of calls this, because you're getting double teams there. And Humphreys just isn't ready for the corner to be there. I think he's just kind of looking there, and the corner is up and there on the line of scrimmage, and you just miss it. And you get a no-gainer. It comes into play later. Roddy tweeted out that he was still thinking about Humphreys' block on the touchdown later. It's the same play. It's the exact same play as this.
Do you think this is a vision thing from London, that he's not seeing that there is this corner out here behind Lucky?
I mean,
or do you think it's just that this gets in his way and he can't get around it?
My guess is it's more of it's right in his face, so he's just, all right, I'm going to hit something.
I mean, yeah, it's not like you have a long time to make that decision.
Right.
You're moving and your body goes.
But the beautiful part is you can go look at this play, on the sideline, and then when you ran it again later, it was nice. All right, so I got a question for you on this play. The slip, or the sort of duck down. Slip or on purpose?
Slip.
I think it's a slip too, because right there, his left foot.
It's the foot, yeah.
Comes out, and he does a great job of getting back up, but it actually works perfectly because he's hidden. And gets out of there and catches this. And one of the things that I've been super impressed with Robinson over his time frame is he has great hands, like very natural hands for a big running back that you don't normally see. He's caught the ball well. I don't think he actually has a drop in his career. But heck of a play. I love the bootleg action. Good fake, good head fake from Gunner. All the details. And then, of course, Gunner goes and picks up the ball and hands it to the ref.
As we're monitoring portal season, I would not be surprised if Rod Robinson is one in that portal.
I agree.
And not that this is the time during Film Don't Lie to talk about all that. It's just to say that, like, for him to have this moment with Georgia in what is likely one of his last playing opportunities at Georgia, when you just get buried down in the depth chart and guys that are younger than you rise above, that tends to be the ones that transfer first. So all the things of the environment say that this is something that Rod Robinson would consider. We'll find out in the next week or two.
I do think it was a slip. I don't think it was on purpose, too.
Yeah, I agree. Late first quarter.
So this is the sort of bad and good that comes with, not necessarily bad, but the not so good and the good that comes with Gunner. Rip this curl. He does a phenomenal job of using his eyes. So let's pause it as he goes through sort of progression. Boom, once he hits top of the drop, boom. He looks at Williams, which pulls the safety, the overhang, the hook curl player towards Elias Williams, towards the SEC logo. So now he resets, and like, this should just rip this curl. Boom, Branch open, like easy all day. Rip that, hit him right there. He misses, he turns it down, but he goes and gets the first down. And that's the thing with him, where consistently throughout this season is, he might turn these down. And he had a couple other ones that later in the game that I wrote down as were bad turn downs that actually ended up being good turn downs. But he goes and makes a positive play of and gets the first down.
Well,
it's the sort of
in the same vein as looking at the film in real time that Lennon Humphreys didn't hit that block. Didn't Gunner hit this curl with Dylan Bell late in the game?
Later, before the next touchdown, before the 21-0 touchdown.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, next up here.
This is an underrated thing that, to me, and as someone who like works with quarterbacks, and even when I in high school playing quarterback, I was a sneak machine, being smaller. I don't all these, and it happened in the Ohio State Indiana game. Julian Sayin. So Alabama overadjusts because Monroe Freeling, you got Delp at left tackle now. Monroe Freeling shifts to the sort of tight end right side. But so many of these QBs, they just get the snap and they just start moving forward and leaning. And what happens is what happened to Julian Sayin in that game against Indiana is you lose your feet and your knee hits the ground versus taking a moment and then, oh, okay, where's the defense not? Let the blocks work a little bit. When you only got to get a yard, this is beautiful. Great sneak work from him. Goes where the defense isn't. Takes a little bit of pause just to see that. And then easy first down on a sneak.
I mean, this is where football gets really dumbed down, right? Brent, would you rather run over here or would you rather run over here?
Pretty simple, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of times the game is not hard when you really look at it. But it's just great execution, great patience from him that just kind of maybe goes unnoticed if you're not really looking into it.
Red zone.
This is one where what's the next step to me for Juan Gaston as a player is not trusting his physical gifts. Because more often than not, you see him hit guys and he's like, and a lot of times it works, where my physical gift of just being able to shove you and get you out of the way works. But once you sort of marry the physical gifts with the, hey, I'm going to be a technician, stay lower, and just run this guy. Because if he runs 88, I think he runs 80. He would run him into 41, cut back, touchdown type deal.
So if Juan just kind of like runs along.
He can, if he stays low here and doesn't just try to shove the guy, like see how he just kind of hits and like, okay, get out of the way, versus just stay low, drive, almost like playing as if you don't have the physical gifts that you have. But still, he's a phenomenal and going to be a phenomenal player. It's just one where it's like that's the next step for me with him.
At the same time, the guy to his left, Tolliver, great rep here.
Yeah, take them where they want to go, and he did a very solid job of that on multiple occasions. I think there's one later that we're going to look at where if those guys want to go that way, just take them, especially in these zone type plays.
3rd and 5.
This is a great throw. So they bracket, they go fade, sort of corner route, short out to the bottom of the screen. They bracket C.J. Wiley, and then you've got 2 crossers, and Gunner throws the second crosser to Bell, which it's one of those things where because the press box is up like right in this corner, looking right down at this. And as I was watching this live, I thought, uh-oh, because I saw where he was going, and you see the safety kind of take that initial step in front of Bell, where it's like, is he going to pick the ball? But this is one of the things where with Gunner in the red zone, he throws the ball so hard that if he's accurate, it's going to be hard for it not to be his guy catching the ball.
I thought this is one of the best throws of the season for Gunner.
Great one. I agree. And you got the guy getting his hand up too, so you got to go work around that. I think it's 42 kind of jumps, sees it, works around those hands, and then puts it. That's as good as it gets.
Oh, and let's also shout out Dylan Bell, because in a game where Noah Thomas was injured, Zachariah Branch demands attention. You have the other reliever injuries you've had with Colby Young. Dylan Bell, Mr. Steady at Georgia for 3 years, critical in this game. I mean, what did he have? Like 8 touches overall, half from the backfield. Like really great game for Dylan Bell.
Speaking of Dylan Bell, this is the best timing they've had on this play all year long. And when you run this play, sort of a jet sweep action, with timing. I will say, so pause it before the snap, or pause it. Who's in the backfield?
Cash.
It's first down.
Like, why is he there?
He's there to block. Like, people, like teams are going to know this. Like, you got to have, and you got to have answers or have different, unique, fun things off this, and maybe they do down the road. But I'd also, can't sort of give this away a little bit. But that's power read. But when you run it so fast like this, it's almost borderline impossible to defend.
I just got a little excited in my brain when I molded 2 different eras of Georgia football here on this play. And it wouldn't have come from as wide here. But, Brock Bowers used to run this jet sweep action and be the ball carrier. And I'm like, if Elias Williams is blocking in front of him, but then I had the thought, oh, yeah, Brock did have Darnell doing this in front of him.
Yes, very much so.
And it worked out pretty darn well. Elias is it's a different kind of, because he's a more athletic, not as big.
Yeah, not
Darnell
nearly
Washington,
as big.
but in terms of the role that they've been asking of him, it's a bit of that. He'll do stuff down the field Darnell wasn't doing. But seeing them start to build what they can do around 10, I think has been one of the more exciting parts of the second half of the season.
But that's just an easy 12 yards when you run that well with timing. Okay, so this is third down here. And what's amazing about this when you think about it, this was the first time since the Mississippi State game that when you threw at the branch, you didn't complete it.
Wow. What a stat.
So the last 4 games, Texas, Charlotte, Tech, and then the Bama game. This is the only time you've thrown at the branch and it not been a completion. But my question here is, all right, so and I don't know if it's a check. Let's look at the wide, go back to the wide. Pause it here before the snap. Go back a little bit before the snap. Do you see anyone in the middle of the field?
Nope.
No. So you've got to know that, hey, somebody's maybe tracking to get back toward the middle field. But if not, why is this route not a bend out to go in and throw it down the middle of the field? I would love, that's just let him go run. Because look who actually drops in the middle of the field for Alabama here. That would be
Big
Tim
man.
Keenan.
Yeah.
All 320 or 330, whatever he may be tipping it at. But Hubbard kind of stays and hangs for the back. You're cover 0 in that with a nose tackle in the middle of the field. That's one where I would love to have seen that be a just fake the corner, go to the post, and see if Branch just can outrun a guy here.
I was curious if Gunner saw something he didn't like late here, because it feels like his motion may have shifted a little bit. No, maybe not. Or maybe he felt like that hand was going to be in his motion here. There was something here that made this feel like it wasn't a full commitment to throw.
And obviously Branch broke it off. He thought he was maybe going to the corner. So, yeah. But still, at least it's not a turnover.
2nd and 2.
Malachi Tolliver was very solid in pass protection. Run blocking, okay. He was not bad. I'll say that. But this is one here where he doesn't necessarily get his head across, shoves the guy, and ends up. I mean, it's kind of it's not necessarily a stunt in a way, I don't think, but in terms of him, he takes a shorter step. That first step doesn't get his contact point there. Guy comes off, makes the play. But in terms of pass pro, his movement skills are actually really good. So that I think is a positive. But okay, you get one or two in the run games.
And that's an important note, because as we're talking about, can Colby Young come back? Drew Bobo will not be coming back.
No, he's not coming back.
That's a different kind of injury.
At this point in the game, this was the play of the game to me for Alabama. Georgia did kind of go for it and then get it right here, if I'm not mistaken, right before the half. But
yeah, this is the next play.
Yeah, next play they got it. But it's one where if I'm Gunner and I break contain, I know I can break contain like he could there. I get getting it out quickly is the easy thing to do, or the sort of right thing, and it's there, and he's open, throw it to him. But I would also like to see, especially in short yardage situations, him, if he knows he can break contain, to just keep going with the ball and be a threat, both run run or pass here, because maybe something down the field comes up open. But still, I thought, like I said, Alabama, that was a great tackle from 8. Now, Georgia did get it, but then I think there was a penalty maybe right after that kind of stunted that drive. But like London, you see London Humphreys coming open on the crosser. Knowing that you got a deep and then a crosser, personally, I would just like to see him keep going out, be more of a sort of run pass threat. Maybe the guy comes up and you throw it over the guy's head to London. Or if they stay back, then you just run it for the first down.
I hear you. My only thing, Bowen still has to get this first down.
Yeah, I agree.
Like from that point, you have an angle that Georgia has set up for you. He cuts it up a little bit too much there, and then have your momentum diving forward to get
anticipate that you just got to beat the guy to the sideline a little bit, but still, you got it the next play, and then you kind of stalled. And the biggest key there was once you got the first down that you ensured that Bama wasn't getting the ball back. Early second half, their call beats yours. Blitz call, I thought it was grounding. They called him outside the pocket. He was
not out of the tackle box.
He was not outside the tackle box. I think they messed that up. But still, their blitz call beats your protection. The key, though, is if you happen to get this protected, or if Micah Morris saw this late, because nothing was sort of in the wrong here in terms of what they did. It's just hard because of the way, all right, he's got to think like 42's coming. He's got to get the next inside guy. The quarterback's got to be responsible for the free rusher. You handle the next blitzer with both Cash and Glover. But if Micah Moore somehow sees that late and gets out there late, go back to the wide, because they're playing again. They're playing man-to-man across. Look at Branch in the slot. Like look at him just winning right there at right at the 30 on the end breaker.
Yep.
That dude, he's open all the time. There's rarely a route where he is not open.
He's Waffle House.
Speaking of perfect timing, this was a greatly timed call. All the OC haters need to. The dude is dialing it up consistently.
But it's because of for what you're saying about Branch. Look at the attention he draws.
Oh yeah, and it's one of those things where I wonder how much they talk about during the week. Hey, do we want to fake it and try to get an explosive all this early in the game or later in the game? And sometimes they've done it early. This is obviously a little bit later, but it's perfect timing either way. It's big play. You set up the next touchdown.
Yeah, they came out of the huddle late, and then good ball skills by Lawson Lucky here. I think we all have seen he scored 3 touchdowns in a game this year, but
yep,
good ball skills there.
Great play, great throw. Good, a little bit better with just a little bit of pump fake. You need that little bit of pump fake to go. And then, of course, this is the play we talked about earlier. You get the jet fake, Humphries wraps around, and it's just absolutely run to perfection. The corner is not as on the line of scrimmage and aggressive this time, but he at least knows that that's there. Because, see, he kind of patience, and then right there, perfect shoulder, hits him exactly where he needs to hit him. All that, that's just, to me, in football, there is not much like a perfectly blocked run play. When everybody's head is on the right side, you get exactly where you're supposed to be in the running game, and you just get backs that get all this otherwise known as yards before contact untouched. That's just gorgeous.
2 more plays from us.
Some more good from Tolliver.
And from Nate.
And Juan Gaston, this time. Being quick. This is your zoning. And the other thing that I actually tweeted this out that I asked on the vent, did you notice how much under center they went in this game?
Mm-hmm.
Almost 3 times as much as their regular season average. How much of that is, are you worried about the kids' snaps from the shotgun? How much of that is, you're adding elements to your offense and you want to bootleg that kind of stuff. But either way, the under center game was nice to see. And then here is the absolute nail in the coffin. That is just great job all around. Branch, once he makes that cut, it's like touchdown. He ain't catching him. Cash does a good job of faking. Lucky, because of Branch's cut, gets 2 guys. But the unsung hero of this play is Gunner. Look at I think Georgia's highlight video from the game was zoomed in on him throwing this ball. I mean, you're talking just, half a hand of space where he leans back and adjusts that ball to get that thing out that quickly. It's so close to that ball being knocked down. But great job of just leaning, keep leaning as you're throwing, and then obviously delivering an accurate pass. And then Branch just goes and does his thing and jumps and whatever the celebration thing is called that he does. Game over.
You wonder if USC keeps Branch if they're in the playoff, because they were kind of on the fringe of it anyway.
No. I'd say no, because they could have used him better.
Yeah.
But they also have Mekhi Lemon, who's really good too, and Lane, that's a big, tall, physical receiver too. And it's not his offense to me is not built to have 3 receivers be awesome. It's built for 2. And and Branch to me was kind of the odd man out there. So it worked out perfectly, because he is as vital a player to any team's offense, any non-quarterback in the college football playoff.
Odd man out there, main attraction here. And
yes.
You can argue Ladd's right there. Pickens is right there. That's your top 3 receivers of the Kirby era.
Receivers, yes.
Receivers. Bowers, I know he's a tight end, but you start getting, even in overall playmakers, Branch is right there in the top 5-6 guys.
And they could throw it down the field to him more. They just don't have to. Yeah. And when it's easy just to check it, get it out to him and let him go do his thing, make it easy.
I mean, and you've seen the stuff where he's coming in the backfield and doing the orbit. I don't know that they're going to do as much of that in the latter part of the season, especially when Noah Thomas goes out. They're like, we need you at receiver in this game, just because that changed the whole complexion of the group there. All right, Dog Vent. That's Film Don't Lie from UGAsports.com. Appreciate y'all. And we'll have more of this either in preview or review form for whatever's left of Georgia's season, as the college football playoff is happening this month. And I think it'll be a fun January for Georgia and everyone here on the Dog Vent. So thanks for supporting us. We'll see you next time.